Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the PWR Network. It's Weird Watts Wednesday. It's been reported that Chris Watts actually got a write-up in prison. Can you believe all of that? He actually got a write-up in prison for getting letters from Nichol Kessinger. After all this time, are these two still writing each other from behind bars? And seriously, what would Lizzy Lee do if she ever found out? Stick around because I'm rolling credits while the rest of the power crew drifts in. Shout out to my dragonflies. I love you. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think they're still in contact after all these years?
Cavalier's drumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day.
Hearing the essence of gratitude. It's Weird Watts Wednesday, and my internet is sketchy, but at least it's still working. So I'm very grateful for that because I get to be with you guys. I have taken to love my Weird Watts Wednesday with my internet crew, with my power crew. And so I'm really happy to be here. I was working on some videos this week because my internet's been really sketchy. So I was doing some shorts on my phone and I found this news report that I don't know, I missed it. I must have missed it. It was Chris Watts got written up for interacting with Nichol Kessinger. So I thought that would be a perfect topic for today's Weird Watts Wednesday. And so that's what we're going to be doing. Hi, Mally. Mally says, yes, I could see NK writing to CW. I love it. I love the fact that she's still writing him, possibly. Again, this is all my opinion, my research. This is for entertainment and, whatever purposes only. We encourage you to go out and do your own. And we will put everything that we view during this live down in the YouTube show notes. We do this to cite our sources and for fair play use. So, I don't know. I think she could still be writing them. I like to watch Jumpsuit Pablo, and he did 10 years in prison, and they were talking about I forget who he was talking about. It wasn't Koberger, I don't think. It was somebody else getting letters, and he was like, yeah, they do a lot of stuff through the mail. Everybody thinks that the prison is just sitting there monitoring every word that comes through, and he says it's impossible for that to be. So yeah, I think maybe they could still be writing, and I love that prospect of it because then I love that I heard, I was watching Dave's video about Lizzy Lee, and he was saying that Lizzy Lee is very jealous. She's a very jealous girl, and she doesn't like to hear about any of the other girlfriends. And then when I saw this, I was like, well, we're talking about it. We are talking about it. Oh, hey, Lindsay, how are you? It's so good to see you. I am so glad you're back here on the internet and shining your light, because I think that, like what I said to you yesterday, I think people do try to steal your energy, and I'm so glad that you're starting to protect it. I wanted to say that back when it was happening, but I didn't want to sound like a know-it-all either. So okay, guys, so let's get into it. Before we get started, if we could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do, just start warming up your fingers and dancing them up to the hearts and thumbs up button. It's just a free way to help us out. helps us be seen by the internet and bring more people back. We are really trying to find like people in this corner. And by like people, I mean you can have whatever opinion you want as long as it's not dangerous and it's respectful. You can disagree with me, and I'm not going to come after you and say what's wrong with you. You're not going to get me here saying that I know everything, because I do not, and I run from those that say they do. And I've just decided I really want to find a group of people that are like that, because I know we're out there. I know there's middle of the road people that we're out there, that, you know, like if we have different political spectrums, we're respectful still to one another, and we hear each other out. We want to hear people that have different thoughts than us. That's a novel idea, isn't it? People that have different thoughts than you. But anyway, that's what we're trying to grow here. And I think it's starting to work because we are starting to grow. And I'm super excited. And I'm also excited because we are finally getting some sponsorships, which, I mean, I have tried out a few products, and I only bring you the ones that I like. And this wild deodorant is something that has really been agreeing with me, because I am somebody who has autoimmunes, and the world's gone absolutely off the rails, in my opinion. But one thing I'm not letting get crazy is what I put on my skin. That's why I use wild deodorant. It's clean, refillable, and doesn't pump me full of junk I can't pronounce. Plus, it actually works. So if you want to smell good and not feel gross about it, grab your first wild deodorant at shopwildrefill.com/pairwomen and use code pairwomen for 20% off. So you can stay fresh, stay strange, and let's get back to the case. Let me get my screen together, and a huge thank you to Wild Deodorant. And I do see that you guys have been supporting me by trying it. And if you are trying it, let me know how you like it. Okay. So this was the article that I saw that kicked off today's topic. I must have missed it because it happened in 2020. I knew that he thought somebody was writing to him from Hawaii, and he thought that it was Nichol Kessinger in the first days that he went into prison. But I had no idea. And, you know, this is all from an inmate. So, you know, I can't confirm or deny it. So again, like I said, this is just all for entertainment purposes only. But an inmate reveals that unaliver Chris Watts got back in touch with mistress Nichol Kessinger. Chris Watts is making decisions behind bars that continue to shock those who knew him. Watts is currently serving 5 life sentences plus 48 years in prison without the possibility of parole for the unaliving of his wife, Shanann, daughters Bella and Celeste, and unborn child, Nico. I love that this one puts in the baby. Some of them leave the baby out. Well, no one knows for certain what drove Watts to take his family lives on a summer night in 2018. Many suspect that the affair he was having had something to do with it. That summer, Watts had become involved with Nichol Kessinger. The two reportedly never spoke again after Watts's confession. That's the mainstream media narrative, with Kessinger even changing her name. And no, that didn't happen. And moving out of Colorado. I got some insider news. I can't confirm or deny it, but I heard she's in Florida now. I'm trying to figure out if this is true or not, but somebody told me that their husband works in the system and he got this information, but we won't be able to confirm or deny it for a while. I am still trying to work this out. If you've heard this and you have any further evidence, if you could like send me an email, that would be great. It's pairwomenradio@gmail.com. And the women is plural. So it's MEN, although I have set up an MAN account because I get a lot of people sending it to there, but I always forget to check that one. That summer, Watts had been involved with Nichol Kessinger. The two reportedly never spoke again after Watts. Oh, I already read that. Sorry. Now it seems the two are back in contact as a fellow inmate at Dodge Correctional institution in Waupun, Wisconsin, alleged in the Daily Mail it may have even had something to do with the recent Netflix documentary about the case. So Chris Watts is currently an inmate at the Dodge Correctional. That's repeat. David Carter alleged that Watts got back in touch with Nichol Kessinger. Watts's affair with Kessinger has believed to be the catalyst for all the actions that led to the unalivings around Watts himself has denied it. After Watts's trial, Kessinger, no, she didn't change her name. So, in Letters from Christopher, the tragic confessions of the Watts family murders, Watts told pen pal Sherilyn Cadle, and again, Sherilyn Cadle has been proven to be a plagiarizer, and she had her first book removed. I feel like I always have to say that, so we always have to take Sherilyn Cadle with a grain of salt too, that he was still in love with Kessinger. But I also believe that he was still in love with Kessinger. He also said that he believes some of the letters he got in jail were written by her under assumed names. Carter says that it's unclear whether it's really Kessinger writing or if Watts simply thinks it is. What do you guys think? Do you think it's, I think he wants her to write him for sure. Watts told Carter that he was in contact with Kessinger in September 2020, a year after the book's release. Apparently, prison authorities discovered the two were in communication and Watts was punished. His email account was suspended as authorities took a careful look at all of his messages in and out. Now, I did a search and I can't find this disciplinary thing. And we have seen other disciplinary things where, when he got the prison undies and the prison lube, he got in trouble for that. And then there was another one where he wrote a letter and he was saying that he wants to soak somebody's panties. So he got in trouble for that, but we don't see this. I find that a little suspect. Carter says that he talked to Watts about the motivation behind his crimes. Watts told Carter that he unalived Shanann because he didn't want to pay child support. Watts reportedly was open about the fact he didn't want the baby Shanann was pregnant with, and that he believed she'd take the house and a bit of money in a divorce. You think? I don't buy any of that, though, Carter noted. I couldn't even unalive my entire family just because I didn't want a child or didn't want to pay child support. I mean, I could believe that because there are men who have done this. So, I mean, that's not what makes it unbelievable. I have a lot of things going on in my life, but I have never wanted to stop and unalive my entire family because I wanted certain things to go my way. And yes, YouTube makes me say certain words, dance around certain words. Carter also says that Watts has pictures of his two little girls in his cell, but none of Shanann. He told me he has nightmares every night, always the same, of his two girls standing in his cell playing catch, he shared. Watts shares a cell with another child unaliver, Marcus M.J. Johnson. Johnson was sentenced to 40 years in 2015 after unaliving his girlfriend's 3-year-old son. He put the little boy in scalding hot water after the boy had a bathroom accident. Oh, geez. Their cell is about 6 feet by 8 feet, so it's not very big for two people, Carter noted. The two were in the cell across from Carter's own. Well, see, this is stuff that I didn't know that he was in this cell with this person. But MJ and Chris got on real well. Of course he did. Another child unaliver. And they look out for each other. Chris sleeps on the bottom bunk, MJ on the top. Now, I had heard that Chris was getting along really well with, was it Carly Kloss? It was the girl who the guy broke into the house and unalived the entire family just to kidnap the girl. I heard he got along really well with that guy too. But then he got moved. Chris gets a lot of unaliving threats from other prisoners, and so does MJ because of what they both did. So they were able to put they were able to put either of them in just with anyone. Carter explained of how the two ended up together. Watts still gets plenty of letters from girls from female admirers too. Carter says women even send Watts money, half of which goes towards the $6 million he was ordered to pay Shanann's parents, Frank and Sandy Ruchek, in a wrongful death suit. Oh, so they get half of the money that Chris Watts gets sent. I mean, I guess we have to take this all with a grain of salt, but did you guys know that he had to split his, I knew that he had gotten sued, but I had no idea how they were going to possibly get the money from Chris. And didn't his parents get some of that money, or was that the insurance? Because I know the parents sued for some of the money. No, yeah, they got the insurance money. Wouldn't that be something if the parents were getting some of the money that Chris was getting sent by the girls? No, that's not happening, but that would be irony at its finest. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he receives up to $1,000 a week, Carter said. He gets a lot of mail, probably from 10 to 20 people a day. Most of it's from admirers, both men and women, but he gets a lot of death threats too. He gets letters from people wanting to marry him. We know he's about to get married to Lizzy Lee. Strangers who don't even know him personally. They just send him money. He doesn't reply to many, and he passes some of the mail on to the other inmates. I wonder if he's able to take some of that money that he gets from Lizzy Lee or from people and pass it on to Lizzy Lee. You think? Can he do that? I'm going to have to come back in a second and see if Lindsay is here and ask her if you're able to do something like that. Carter also noted that Watts has gotten deeply involved in religion since being locked up. Chris has turned to God in a way. He spends a lot of time reading the Bible, and he's actually a very caring person. Carter said Watts works as a butcher in the prison. Well, we now know he was the meat man, and now we know he's a janitor. I also wonder, do you think any of the gangs have approached Chris to ask him to join? I know it sounds silly, but again, like I've been watching a lot of Jumpsuit Pablo, and he talked about how the gangs, on whether the gangs were going to approach Bryan Kohberger or not. And then he did a video where he said that the gangs, the Aryan Nation gang, did approach Alex Murdaugh, and Alex Murdaugh turned him down. Do you think any gang has approached Chris Watts? I think it's the one thing that keeps him going. He seriously thinks he is going to get out one day, although anyone else knows he never will. I don't know. I'm starting to think, like, with the way our world is turning, some of the prisoners that they've locked away for life are going to get out. I mean, when the Menendez brothers got locked away, did you ever think they were going to get out? I didn't. So he failed a lie detector. He admitted to police that he had unalived Shanann and the girls. He admitted to his father. He admitted to corrections officers and dad. I hope this is what keeps him in. He admitted to me, but he still says he was framed for the Schmurders and that he wasn't home when it happened. Okay, let me come over into chat and see what people are saying. I remember that letter. I remember the letter from Hawaii. You read it. Oh, you did read it? Yeah, I remember it too. I didn't grab it for today, but I thought everyone pretty much had seen that one. You remember the letter as well? Never happened. David Carter was not even in his area. He was paid by a YouTube creator. He had a YouTube channel. Oh yeah, Annie, how did we figure that out? Can you guide me in that direction so that I can bring that up and further check into that? I would think gang would think he is weak. Well, I would think the gang would think Bryan Kohberger is weak, but I mean, he said, Jumpsuit said it doesn't matter if they think you're, well, no, he did say that. He said that they would go after Brian because Brian unalived these people in the most brutal way with knives, and he had no qualms about doing it. So they would want a soldier like that on their team. And I mean, Chris did something so heinous. I mean, if you believe he unalived the girls on his own, I mean, it's one thing to do it to your lover who's pregnant, which is like, oh my God. It's another to put a blanket over your two little girls' faces and one saying, no, daddy. That's like, that's something. So, I mean, it just popped in my mind while I was reading it. I mean, I think he's the weakest individual out there. And yeah. Oh, Lindsay, did you hear the question? They had said that Chris Watts gets up to 1K a week from women, and he has a new reported fiance, and a lot of people say she's doing it for the money. How is if Chris, and now I'm saying that half of it goes to, I'm gonna have to look into all of this, because is half of his commissary money or whatever the money that the people are sending to him going to the rechecks, which would be very interesting. But could he send a portion of that money? When he gets money sent, does it automatically go onto his books, which is a part of commissary? Or because it seems to me like they're holding your money for commissary so that you don't have money floating around in the jail, because that in prison, that would be really wrong. So is he able to withdraw any of his money and send it to family or friends? Does that make sense? Did I say that in a way that makes sense, you guys? It would go straight to his books. And would he be able to ever send any of that money on his books to people that he knows, or is it just strictly for commissary? Annie says he called Tammy Lee with secret info and she rebuffed. Okay. So I'm going to have to go in the Tammy Lee direction. Okay. Lindsay says, when I was in prison, I wasn't able to withdraw money, but maybe something has changed. I'll look into it and ask someone. Yeah, because I really want to get you back up on the show. I want to talk about, I've always wanted to talk about cults, but I didn't want to cross any lines. And I saw you say that you're willing to talk about them. We won't talk about the certain person. I totally get that. But I've always been interested in cults. And I also want to talk more about prison stuff, because we're doing a lot of new prison things, a lot of people that are in prison. So I would really like that. I really want you back. Your video is one of our highest rated videos. So, okay, well, you guys, let's keep going, because this isn't all I have for today. I wanted to look at not only this one, but, I like to interweave a whole kinds of a lot of stuff into one. So this next one, is an article that I found from Fox News. And this is Chris Watts still in touch with girlfriend. He unalived his family to be with fellow. Oh, wait, is this the same person though? Let me look in here. If it's the same person, I'm not going to. Yeah, it's the same one. Okay. And this was when Christina Randall covered it. We're just going to take a real quick at what she has to say about it.
That he took out his whole entire family because he did not want to pay child support. Listen, I am not a Chris supporter. However, I don't think he would literally just tell this dude yelling across the cells. He wasn't even in a cell with him. Yeah, I killed him.
Okay. She's sus of him. So, okay.
I didn't want to pay child support. Yeah, I didn't want that baby. Watts keeps pictures of his two daughters pinned up in his cell, but there are no pictures of his wife. He has nightmares every night, and they're always the same, of his two girls standing in his cell playing catch. I don't know for sure, but I wouldn't be surprised if he receives up to $1,000 a week. He gets a lot of mail, probably from 10 to 20 people a day. Most of it is from admirers, both men and women, but he gets a lot of death threats as well. Chris has turned to God in a big way, says Carter. Watts is working in a prison kitchen as a butcher, Carter said, cutting up meat for the prison.
Now we know that he is now the janitor.
His life is what the guy says. Okay, end of article. So basically, this guy alleges that he was friends with him in there. They talked. He shows this letter here, honey. Does a whole photo shoot with the one letter to prove.
I didn't realize he had a photo shoot with the letter.
That he's got some sort of information.
Although I would like to see the letter up close, because we've had somebody on the show that has about 20, 30 letters from Chris, and we've seen his handwriting, and we, had that exclusive where we read letters that he wrote to her. So I wonder if there's a better photo where we could see at least the writing
to prove that he's got some sort of information. I think it's wishful thinking on Chris's part. I think when you're in prison, all you do is sit there and think. Like your regrets play over and over in your mind. You wonder what other people are doing. Like if you were married when you go in, or if you had a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or even if you were not in a relationship, like you think about what that person is doing. And I can assure you, in my personal opinion, for legal reasons, Chris Watts is sitting around thinking about NK constantly, wondering what she's doing, wonder if she still loves him, and he's going to hold on to any little thing, and he's going to hope forever that one day he's going to get a letter from her. I think that it's possible that people are writing him pretending to be her, or pretending to be vague enough to be.
Yes, that is a good point, Christina. I agree. I do think there are probably people just effing around, writing to him, pretending to be her, trying to get into his mind, having a good old time. I'm surprised nobody's actually done it and then come forward with the letters.
Yeah, anybody could do that. I could literally sit down right now and write a letter and say that, I've changed my name, or I could just write a letter and say, hey, it's me. Like, no, I don't know. Can I write that? And he would read it. You would probably think it was her. You know what I'm saying? Like anybody could write that. So I don't buy that. Next subject. Let's talk about this guy, David Carter, who did this interview. He says that he didn't actually tell the Daily Mail that Chris told him that NK was writing, that Dylan told him that. So now he's kind of like, backpedaling. Well, Chris Watts didn't tell me that. Dylan told me that Chris told him.
Hey guys, that just dawned on me. I have somebody who wrote to me, and they have all of Dylan's books. And I think they even have Cato's books, and they offered me all of them for $40. Would you guys be interested in me getting those books and going over them? And then we're doing our October birthday celebration. And then in the October birthday celebration, I can give them away. Is that something that would be interesting to you guys? I'm just trying to think of cool things to do for the celebration for you guys. But would anybody be interested? Because I don't keep books and stuff like that. But I do want to go through them. And if it's something that you guys would want me to go through, I don't want to spend $40, because I literally don't have $40 if you guys aren't interested in it. Like, I'm at that point in my life where I'm trying to change my life, trying to get back up there where I'm making money, but I literally don't even have $40. But I could swing it probably if you guys are interested.
That he thinks it's NK. It's a whole bunch of hoo-ha running around, like who really even knows what's the truth. We will really never really be able to trust anybody forever. Every person that writes him, he will think about that for the rest of his life. I don't know if we'll ever know the truth about anything, but hopefully.
What do you guys think? Do you think he is finally starting to trust Lizzy Lee? Talking about Chris Watts having people write to him. Remember that Reddit post where the person found that his significant other was writing to Chris Watts. Do you remember that?
Rob and I did a live stream the other day. And if you guys don't follow him, he's Timeless Mysteries. Actually, he just dropped a good video today to go check out, you guys, if you haven't. But so Rob and I did this live stream. I love Reddit. I don't know if you do, but I love Reddit. Came across this post just by searching Watts's name. And it is a guy, and he was on the relationship forum, and he was seeking advice. He did not drop Chris's name, but everything sounds like it's Chris Watts. So he said he was at his girlfriend's house. He wasn't feeling good. He had some type of accident. He was sick. He was looking for towels, and he goes in the cabinets and found some old towels. While he was doing that, he found this box of letters, and curiosity got the best of him, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're letters from Chris Watts. Now,
they're letters from Chris Watts. Are they signed Chris Watts?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So they're signed from Chris Watts. However, he cannot see what she wrote him. Now, this guy is saying on Reddit, he's asking for advice from people because he says, A, I was snooping and I shouldn't have been. B, these letters are from before the two of them started dating. So he feels bad bringing it up to her and making her feel guilty about it. But his concern was, should I be worried that she was writing him? Well, yeah, dude. The fact that and the letters were romantic.
I think I found it.
Yes, on Reddit.
Yeah, I think it is.
So he was seeking advice from people on what to do. Yeah, that's it.
I agree. Rob is a good guy.
That's it. I know this could be made up, but I'm sure this has happened to people. And it's very interesting because the fact that she's writing him and is okay with what he did, I do think the guy should be concerned. But he goes on and on in this letter to say how much he loves her, but he doesn't know to confront her or not about it.
So funny because they're like immediately guessing, is it Chris Watts?
Yeah. They're like, it's Watts. It's got to be Watts. And I give the guy props for not, name dropping it. And then people are like, show us the letters. And, and of course he's not going to do that. It's his girlfriend. But I think he genuinely was hurt to find that. And then also like he's thinking about marrying this girl. So he's wondering.
Well, I would want to know, is this girlfriend religious? Is she religious? That would be my first question to her.
Is she writing him saying like, God forgives you, the girls are in heaven, which I don't know if you've seen, but a lot of people have written Chris and said, I had dreams about.
Thanks for stopping by, Annie. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate that information.
Your daughters, they're in heaven. Just want you to know that. And then they won't reply to his messages back. Or, psychics who will write him and say, I've communicated with your family. They're on the other side. And I just have to get this message to you. So yeah, her letters could have been like that. But the guy in this post makes it sound like they were kind of writing these emotional, passionate letters back and forth. But it was before they started dating.
Oh.
So
it would be like really awesome if he would have put those letters up. But okay, so there is proof, a little bit of proof that people are still writing Chris. And then here we do see a video. Again, I've already said the disclaimer about Sherilyn, so take it with a grain of salt. So.
Sherilyn Cadle. And Scott brought up something that I had been wondering about all the way back when the investigators went to the prison and interviewed Chris, and they asked him about Nikki, and they asked him if he had been in any contact with her, and he said something about, well, he hoped he wasn't, writing with her under an alias. And he didn't really elaborate any further. And so Scott asked if she questioned him about that, and she said that she did. He did elaborate further on that. So I got interested, and back when this happened, I had went back to the Discovery and was looking through the letters that the women had sent him, trying to see if I could find one that I thought might be Nikki writing to him under an alias. And I didn't see one that I thought could be her. But Miss Cadle indicates that it was the Laurel, and she's written him more than anyone. There were a couple other ladies that wrote him more than one time, but Laurel's written him 7 times that are in the discovery. And she does seem to write him as if it seems like in a friendly relationship, like almost like she kind of knows him or she's talking to a friend. So I wanted to go back and see what it was that Chris actually said when they went to the prison, and he talked about this. And he says, they asked him if he would like to talk to Nikki. And he says he maybe once, just to say, I'm sorry that this happened. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what happened afterwards. If you had any counseling or in a different state, I just wanted to let you know that I'm sorry. It's not something I ever saw happening. So 3 times he says he's sorry to Nikki. But Sherilyn Cadle indicates that she had to tell him that he had never said he was sorry to the Ruseks. I just found it interesting that when asked about Nikki, he uses the words, I'm sorry, 3 times.
I think if you believe that NK was a part of this whole thing, you would have to believe that she is still in contact with him, because this would be the way that she would maintain control over him. And this would be the reason why his mouth is still shut. That's what I think. But
so Scott Reich asked Cadle why Chris thought that Nikki was writing to him as an alias. And she indicated that he just thought that she was writing to him in code, possibly, and that she kept mentioning banana bread. I only found one instance of that being brought up in these 7 letters, but it's possible.
no, I believe this is the Hawaii lady that they're referring to.
Well, she continued writing to him. He also just told her that she would write things that would make him think that they knew each other. So I wanted to go back and read these letters for myself to find out what it was that made Chris think that this was Nikki. The first letter she wrote is dated 8/24. However, he didn't get this letter until the 4th letter. That was because she had included an envelope with a stamp on it, and you're not allowed to do that. Starts, hello, Chris. I just wanted to write and say hello and introduce myself. I know you're going through a tough time right now, and I hope this letter gives you some hope. I currently live in Hawaii on the island of Maui, but I'm from Longmont originally. I used to be a professional snowboarder back in the day and moved here in 2005. As I write this, we are currently in the middle of a hurricane, so no work today. Equivalent of a good old snow day, LOL. The media has built it up to be this huge, crazy storm, but only getting a little rain. So anyway, a little about me. I work for a vacation rental company, and we have about 20 condos we rent. It's a pretty...
This couldn't be the person from Hawaii, because there wouldn't be a snowstorm in Hawaii, so I'm wrong.
Boring job. I absolutely love the Broncos, and my favorite music includes Deftones, Jane's Addiction, Filter, and Stick Figure, with reggae in parentheses. I'm a single mother with 1 daughter, and I also have a baby grandson. I'm hoping to move back to Colorado in the next 6 months. I lived in Aspen/Snowmass Village for about 10 years and call that area home. My goal in reaching out to you is to hopefully form a pen pal friendship and give you something to do, and to maybe look forward to receiving my letters. I'm an optimistic person and try to find the good in a situation. I'm sure that deep down, you are a wonderful, interesting, and decent man. I like humor and jokes, and know firsthand that a good hearty laugh can lift your spirits. I'd be happy to send you funny and interesting articles and pictures. You must be bored. I'm sorry about that. Anyway, I've included a return envelope and paper and hope to hear back from you anytime. I've put a couple of pictures from my town so you can see where I live. I write to you in confidence, and she inserted in strict confidence, and promise to keep it that way. Know that I'm saying a prayer for you and everyone else, and you will get through this. I have to say,
you know how when Christina said that it would be very easy just to F with Chris and write him, I suspect that this is somebody effing with Chris.
Hey, I feel I've met you before. Maybe in Longmont or Aspen? Were you ever over here on Maui recently?
Why does he think this one in particular is NK?
So strange, but I feel we've crossed paths somewhere. In any case, I'm happy to be some support for you. Okay, take care, and aloha for now, your friend, Laurel. And at the bottom, I'm on your side, and everyone needs someone in their corner. Then she puts bullet points.
It is the woman from Hawaii, because she says aloha.
Let you have a TV? Do you need books to read, or magazines, or even a Bible? Let me know.
Everything.
I can send those to you. So I'm taking a look to see what could have led Chris to believe in this letter that this could be Nikki talking to him in code. And let's see. She mentions being a snowboarder. She brings up a hurricane, which she brings up in quite a few of the letters. And this was interesting. She brings up her favorite music, and then and she puts reggae in parentheses. In the discovery on July 30th, Chris did a Google search for a reggae band named Through the Roots, and he searched the lyrics to the song Down to Earth. And in researching the song, it revealed lyrics that included, "When I'm around you, I can feel peace."
Oh.
And at the lowest level, "You can make me feel like I'm sky high." Other lyrics are quoted by Chris in a card he wrote to Kessinger.
All right.
On
So they did like to do those stupid. I didn't think Chris could write, but who was it that told us that Chris Watts was? Oh, I think it was Jamie. I think Jamie told us that Chris Watts is Jamie was Dylan Talman's. She helped him write a book, and so she got to read some of Dylan's writings. She's Dylan's friend, and she literally said that Chris Watts is a good writer. So hold on, I lost my place. Sorry, guys. She said he's a good writer, and that shocks me because I always thought that he was just, well, I still think this, that he's just a POS that copies lyrics from songs. I would have to I would have to read some of his stuff to believe he's a good writer, but I mean, I'm also not a good writer, so who am I to say? But I still think he's a POS.
the same date, July 30th. But what I find even more interesting is she brings up Aspen twice in this letter and Snowmass Village. And based on the discovery to the lazy dog, Watts searched Google for trails and hot springs near Aspen. Then, believe it or not, on August the 13th, right after he was done disposing of his babies and burying his wife, at 10:33 a.m., Watts searched the internet for hotels in Aspen. Then at 10:42, Watts called the Westin Snowmass Resort and held nearly a 2-minute phone conversation. It's almost unbelievable that he was calmly able to do these things after just eliminating his family.
It's amazing.
But maybe something, there was a special significance. Maybe they
well,
were.
you know that it meant something, but nobody, I mean, it's just like this whole case, you have to piece it together, and then you have to like wade through all the lies and figure out what's a lie and what's a truth. It's just like amazing to me. It's amazing to me that they just stopped. They just stopped researching the case. But again, like getting into true crime, it also isn't amazing to me because, I mean, it seems like our justice system is definitely flawed.
Go with Nikki to Aspen Snowmass Village. I know he was supposed to go with Shanann. It's also possible he was canceling any reservations that Shanann may have made for them, because I know they were supposed to be going the next weekend. We know that he called up to the girls' school and canceled that, but he was calmly able to do these things. Now, I'm not saying that I believe Laurel is actually Nikki in code or an alias, because I do believe this Laurel exists. I know she's a real person. I was able to look that up, but I just want to find out what would have made Chris think that this person was Nikki talking to him. Well, who knows? Maybe this Laurel is friends with Nikki, but I doubt it. I think he was just reading too much into these letters. So I'm going to.
But it is strange that she popped out those lyrics, not really knowing. Well, I mean, maybe she kind of figured out that Chris likes to talk lyrics. Over here on this Oxygen, here's an article about You Heat Me Up. Chris Watts filled letters to mistress with sappy song lyrics. Cards Chris Watts gave his coworkers turned mistress show that the convicted unaliver apparently had a sappy side. His letters including romantic song lyrics taken from country and reggae favorites. These handwritten exchanges were included in the thousands of pages of case documents recently released by the Weld County District Attorney Office. Last month, Watts was sentenced to serve the rest of his life behind bars. So it appears that Fresh Start Watts unallied them to seek a fresh start. District Attorney Michael Work said at his sentencing. It appears that Fresh Start included co-worker Nichol Kessinger, who he'd been having an affair with for weeks. The letters sent here to her prove just how mushy he could be, an unsettling realization considering he would go on to unalive his entire family. Here's one where it says, wow, where do I even start? The first day I saw you, you took my breath away. The first day I had the guts to talk to you, I got lost in those stunning green eyes. The first day we hung out in the park together, I knew I was addicted. The first time we kissed, I knew I had met the most amazing, unique, and electric woman ever. We have a lot of firsts together, Nikki, and I want to keep having them with you all night until the sun comes back. I want to love you like that. I'm assuming that's the lyrics for something. Love, Chris. So to me, that does not strike me as a writer. Maybe he's using Chat GPT these days, and that's making him more of a writer, but this does not strike me. Kessinger turned over the cards and letters after she suspected something was odd about Watts's behavior within a day of him calling his family. In one letter, Watts tells Kessinger, you took my breath away, which could arguably be a reference to the 1986 Berlin song used to Top Gun, Take My Breath Away. Oh, God, don't ruin that song. It's already almost ruined by all the constant commercial stuff. I saw Top Gun so many times. I worked at a Girl Scout camp one summer, and it was on like repeat on the TV when you go in the break room because there were some girls that were joining the Navy afterwards. So, I mean, I can pull out some if I'm going to do a movie quote. I can do the Top Gun ones. So anyway, in one letter, Watts tells Kessinger, sorry, I read that. At the end of the note, he quotes country crooner Keenan Smith 2015 song Love You Like That, concluding the letter with lyrics all night till the sun comes back, wanna love you like that. So that's where it's from. Your energy is insane. You heat me up, you make me melt, and then you cool me down like rain. Is that a good writer to you? It's just so cliche. It makes me cringe. But maybe it's making me cringe because I know what he did. Watts once again references his breath being taken away and a hot pink birthday card he sent Kessinger. At the top of the card, Watts scribbled some lyrics from Take You There, a 2013 track. Hey, by the way, how did they get this birthday card? Did Nichol Kessinger turn this card in, or was this on a picture somewhere? How did they get the card? Watts scribbled more through the Roots lyrics in another card dated July 30th, 2018, this time borrowing lines from Down to Earth. When I'm around you, I can feel peace in the atmosphere, and you bring me right back down to earth. Ugh. So, Annie Elise reported on it and was comparing it to Wade Wilson.
Chris, like Wade Wilson, the tattooed face serial killer, has been getting so much fan mail from all over the place for years now. Countless women have been writing to Chris, just hyping him up, telling him that they know that he's a good person, that they feel drawn to him for whatever reason, blah, 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 blah. And some of these women will literally even send scandalous photos of themselves in bikinis, underwear, sometimes even naked. And just take a look at one of these letters that somebody sent to him. It says, I won't lie, I've seen the news, but it's not my reason for writing to you. You honestly have one of the kindest faces I've ever seen. Now, this will never not irk me. The amount of women who reach out to these people, and I don't know if it's because women typically have kind of like this savior complex of I can save him, I can rehabilitate him, whatever the things are, but she's talking about how he has such a kind face. You know who also had the kindest faces? His daughters that looked just like him.
And Shanann, she had a kind face because she was kind. Okay, so let's keep going. I want to wrap today up with talking about what does Lizzy Lee think about all of this, because we know that Lizzy is not happy about Chris Watts's past girlfriends. But let me pop over into chat and see if you guys are saying anything. Haha, maybe it is her messing with his mind. I hope it is. Hi, Michelle G. I will never live in Colorado because of this case. I want to visit Colorado because of this case. I want to see the house and I actually want to go to North Carolina and see the grave and visit and pay my respects and bring the girls and shenan some stuff. I've wanted to do that for a long time. Correct in your theory, and yes, banana bread. Yes, this is the letter I remember. She's sorry he's bored, and it's in confidence. Remember the email years he did research the reggae song. I don't remember that reggae song. But something's happened to me in the last like month, I would say. I said it before, with my brain bleed I had, the stroke, and then the back surgery, and I had some pulmonary embolisms, and I was on a lot of medications. And these last 3 years, I've been coming off of all those medications. I was severely depressed. I was going through I was being abused. I was going through domestic issues, and I was re-establishing myself. That's why I have no money. And so, but something has happened in the last month where my brain has fired back up. Like I used to not be able to do research. My brain had been injured, and I couldn't, there was like this glass ceiling, and I couldn't like connect dots. And I mean, I still think I was pretty good, but I could tell like something was wrong. Like when I was still starting this show, I was still having to go to speech therapy because I was forgetting words, and I still do when I have a flare. Common words they just fly out of my brain, and I can't remember them for nothing. So periodically I have to go back to speech therapy to get my brain firing again. But the microdosing is helping me create new neural pathways. And I feel like lately I've been kind of a little bit more on fire with my brain. Not to say like I'm smartest cookie tool in the shed. I'm still not that. I never was, but I'm getting back to what I was, and it's feeling really great. What happened to Anna with one leg? I don't remember Anna with one leg. Was that one of the girlfriends? One of the many girlfriends? He is a POS, and yes, all these old references. Yeah, he is a POS. He's the only one that I can agree with people. Like, I think he's just a real POS, and I think he's the one that we should go after. He's the one that deserves our distaste and our and also Nichol Kessinger, if she's in on it. Not the victims, which the victims are the family members, even Chris Watts's family members. So I try to stick to this. But so what does Lizzy Lee think about all this? To me personally, the only person that has the true Lizzy Lee story, I mean, we got some of it. We we reported to you the Lizzy L. We knew that there was somebody going there named Lizzy L visiting because we showed you the records. But there is one person that talks to the Watts, and that is Dave from Seeking the Truth. He has the information on the Lizzy Lee. And whether you believe it or not, that's where the information is coming from. I report on the Chris Watts case. I bring up lots of channels, and it doesn't mean that I'm supporting that channel. I'm just reporting on the case. So I feel like I need to put that disclaimer out there because I'm about to show you Dave's channel. And we're going to take a look at what Lizzy Lee, and if you want to leave, that's fine. You don't have to watch Dave if you don't want to. We're just going to watch him for a second, and we're reporting on the case. And I feel like this is going to give us the information on what Lizzy Lee and how she feels about all these other girlfriends. So this is Plunder's video. She did a video after we did a video, and then she released the Lee part. We were just calling her Lizzy L. she released the Lee part. She did a mock-up drawing of Lizzy Lee, and then Dave did an entire video on Plunder's video correcting the things that she got wrong about Lizzy Lee and brought us the photo. Also, during this live, Ronnie, Chris Watts' father, was in chat talking to Dave.
Several weeks. He occasionally receives a pastoral visit. His mother visited him earlier this year. He has several
No, she did not. She's only had video visits. See the bottom of the screen? They're video visits. They're not in-person visits. I mean, I even had David Carter reach out to me from prison and contacted me wanting me to be added to his email list. I accepted it. I wanted to see what the goose had to say. All he wanted to do was apologise profusely to me for being an arsehole to me when he was outside. I never replied.
Okay, so it looks like this guy had some contact with Dave. I didn't know that.
Never replied. He wrote 5 emails. I ignored them all. And eventually he took me off his list. But I had that, what's that stupid email system? I've got the app here. Core links.
I think it's, yeah, I've done a few of those. I forget who was it. Was it Chris Watts? Somebody accepted me to write to them, but I never wrote to them. Who it was. Maybe it was Sarah Boone. No? I'll have to think.
There. Core links.
Oh, I think it was Jody Arias, actually, when I was covering Jody.
That was it. Yep, Cindy and Ronnie definitely knew all about how much of a con man he is. They can't get one thing right. Absolutely, Ronnie, they can't. They can't.
Well, Lizzy Lee is probably her middle name because it showed up as Lizzy L in the documents that we had.
You guys have not been up there.
So Dave is saying that this David Carter was in contact with him. I guess they had a falling out. And that, so he goes through this and he talks about word point for point about, maybe I'm too far ahead from the Lizzy Lee stuff. Point for point.
If you hear something, don't be afraid to say where you actually heard it.
Yeah, he's saying here that it's ridiculous that people can't just say where they got the information. And I think it's ridiculous too. And we always try to cite our sources here. So I'm not trying to steal people's information. I'm just trying to bring you guys information. So no, here it is. Here's the Lizzy Lee stuff. Sorry.
This is a woman who hails from Cleveland. She's an entrepreneur. She's worked in fields like hospitality, management, internet, retail, etc.
That's her showing the fake Lizzy Lee stuff. Well, the fake photo of Lizzy Lee. I thought I had it queued up.
Seriously.
There. See, did you see here? Even here, it was Lizzy L.
There.
Lizzy L.
Seriously. There she is. That's Lizzy.
May 16th.
So he goes on to say that Lizzy Lee's mother is over on Reddit, and she was getting a lot of people banned from Reddit, and that Lizzy Lee is insanely jealous of these other girlfriends. I mean, how could you possibly trust Chris Watts? Like, I've said it before. I would even be like, I don't know. I would think that maybe Chris Watts is dating somebody inside. I bet you Chris Watts has a prison boyfriend. There, I said it. I think he has a prison boyfriend or a prison husband or something. Because I've always thought that Chris Watts did do something with Trent, or we're going to start looking at the Anadarko people, because I feel like it just kind of like when we were talking about that there was a threesome possibly with another Anadarko worker. It just like a light bulb, one of the light bulbs went on my head, and I was like, yeah, why didn't it dawn on me that if they were having an affair, I mean, and other people knew that there was, there's been things where the coworkers have said that they knew they were having an affair, and it seems like they weren't living in a vacuum. Like I've worked in, I think everybody knew what was going on, and I think there were more people involved in the affairs or whatever. I don't think they were living in this bubble where it was just strictly Nichol Kessinger and Chris Watts. I think there were other players, people involved, and so I want to look at that. Yes, I am somebody who loves Shanann. I was in the hospital when I first saw this story, and Shanann's came up on the screen, and her whole speech in the purple shirt, I heard it with my eyes closed. I didn't know she had been unalived, and it just really helped me in that moment because I just had a stroke, and I thought my life was over, and I heard her, and that's what's drawn me into this case. And you're not going to get me saying things about Shanann. I will tell the truth. I think the MLMs, I think that was a bunch of bunk, but I don't think Shanann knew it was a bunch of bunk. I think that once she would figure that out, because even Nicole Atkinson isn't doing that anymore. So anyway, yes, I do love Shanann here. And I can't understand people going after one another unless it's Chris Watts or Nichol Kessinger. I don't understand it, but I'm in a different headspace these days than I used to be. And so I do understand the concept of it. Okay, guys, I think that's all I have. Let me see if you guys are saying anything else, and then we'll go from there. Lizzy probably wants to profit off of marrying CW. I think I read that already, but yeah, but I can't yet quite figure out how she's going to profit. They would have to be writing a book or something like that. Although I just talked to Lindsay and I asked her, because if he's getting 1K a week or a month, I forget if it was a week or a month. I think it was a month. If he's getting 1K a month, and like, just say like, yeah, 500 of it is going to pay those, the lawsuit, and he's getting 500. Although I think you can only have so much money on your books at a time. So what do they do when you get over the amount of money? Where does that must go? We're going to have to look into it. But Lindsay she was here, and she spent some time in Florida prison, and she's going to see, because she did say that the money would go onto his books. But my question is once it's on his books, is he able to take it and spend it out in the free world, or send it to people out in their free world, or does it always have to go towards commissary? So we'll find out. What do you guys think about all this? I think that Nichol Kessinger definitely has written him. See, I'm at this point, and I know I'm probably annoying to people, but I still don't 100% believe that she was involved. I think there's a percentage, like maybe a 5-10% that she wasn't. And then I believe that if she wasn't involved, she would have to keep writing him. I believe if she wasn't involved, then she's probably not writing him at all. So I just wish I knew. I really do. I really wish I knew. I really wish I had some inside information. I've seen some other creators say that they have inside information that nobody else has, but they're not going to share it. But they know that she was involved. Well, that doesn't do anything for me. I need to see the information for my very own eyes, right? And I'm sure you guys are the same. So anyway, thank you for coming over on Weird Watts Island with me. I love spending this time with you guys. It's a lot of fun for me to talk about what ifs with you guys and to see your guys. You're here. You help me out tremendously. And yeah, huge thank you to our sponsor today, which is Wild Deodorant. I really do like this deodorant. It helps me out a ton. I am a heavy sweater. And I also get migraines, so I have to be very careful about scents, and you're able to get unscented or, scents that are not so like, yeah. And it's actually really good for your body, and it's good for the environment, and it's refillables, and I love it. So thank you to all you guys that have been supporting us through our sponsor, and thank you to our sponsor. I will put the link there. And with using our code PWRWomen, you get 20% off your first order. So, okay, you guys, I'm going to head out. Thank you for being here. I hope you guys have a great Wednesday. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you guys this. I love you guys so, so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys. And if you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's $2.99 a month, and I would love to have you.
I miss my cue, baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep.
Be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps me go out into the algorithm party out there. Bring more people back to the party. It's just a good way to help me.
Falling out, hoping for some time with you.